So nice to have all of you here. Thank you for attending the California Placement Association's monthly webinar. This is our second one for this year. Today we have Abby Kohut. Is that how you say her last name?
Yes, that's pretty good.
Awesome. Okay, yay. Join us. She's going to talk about how to be found by recruiters on LinkedIn, how they find you, and why you want to be found. I am super excited about this. Last month we had Omar Garrett, who worked for LinkedIn and really kind of showed us how to be found on LinkedIn, but this is like coming from the other side, the recruiting side. So I'm really excited about that. Abby has a hard stop at noon, so we'll take questions about 10 or 15 minutes, and then I'm going to, of course, promote in the chat and everything. We had the state conference coming up. It's March 1st through 3rd in Palm Springs this year for the California Placement Association's annual state conference. We are back in person. Super excited about that. We're now accepting proposals. If you are an expert in your field and you'd like to speak at our state conference, we would love to have you. You can go to our website and there's a link for a call for proposals, and I'll be putting that in the chat. But I'm looking, I don't see any other Cal Placement board members on right now except Carrie. So Carrie, I'm gonna let you introduce yourself and then you can introduce Abby.
All right, I'm happy to do that. And I just want to put a note in there too to add, I'm so excited about the conference coming up. We've been to the hotel, the location in that time of year. Oh my gosh, talk about a beautiful environment to be learning about stuff that we're all interested in. It's going to be fantastic. And I'm really looking forward to seeing everybody face to face too. So I'm Carrie Ave. I'm actually the CEO of CareerWise Consulting, and I work with workforce development agencies like America's Job Centers and Career Centers, and I help them build programs that ensure that they have high placements for their students or their clients. And I've known Abby now since I was running an America's Job Center a little over a decade ago, and I'm super excited to have her here. And I'm really grateful and thankful that she's able to be here. She may share a little bit of her journey to get here, but I'll just say she lives in Florida, so that'll give you guys some
Fort
idea.
Myers.
Yes,
Fort Myers in particular.
Florida.
Yeah.
So that'll give you some idea what she's had to face in order to be with us today. She agreed to do this before all the chaos in Florida, and she still showed up today. So I'm so thankful, Abby, that you're here. And you're really in for a treat. Abby, some of you know her as Absolutely Abby, if you followed her in the past. I don't know, Abby, if you were going to mention your little journey, but I think you're going to weave some of that in today.
Sure.
As Absolutely Abby going across the nation. But I have to tell you that not only does she know her stuff as a recruiter, and she continues to be a recruiter, very successful recruiter, she truly has a heart for helping everyone be able to get employed. And that, I think, is what brings her to the table today, is that she wants to share information with us so that we can empower others, others of us that are out there working one-on-one with job seekers to get employed, and if any of you are into any type of career transition yourselves, also to kind of help you to really know what it takes to be found by recruiters. How do they go about finding us? Really from that perspective, like Greg mentioned, Omar Garrett was fantastic in terms of your LinkedIn profile and how to set it up and all of that kind of stuff last week. This is really giving us kind of a behind the curtain view. And hopefully, it's really going to demystify what a recruiter does. Because if you've not been one, it's kind of like that, Wizard of Oz, the guy behind the curtain, pulling all the buttons and everything. And you're like, what is he doing back there? In this case, what is she doing back there? So Abby's going to shed some light on that with you today. And Abby, thank you. Thank you so much for being here today.
You're welcome. So, I don't even know where to begin, but so I have been a recruiter for 27 years. And I'm still a recruiter in a variety of types of ways. And thank you for the welcome. And it's nice to be here with all of you. And Carrie's right. So I drove across the country. I actually quit my job, drove across the country in an RV for 5 years, trying to help 1 million job seekers. And that's, I think, Carrie, that's how we met, I think. So that would have been in 2012. And what she also mentioned is that I live in Fort Myers right now. And so I'm talking to you from outside in my lanai. I don't know if you could see behind me. No, I don't think you can. But my house did okay in the hurricane, but there's still some damages that we have. So I haven't been out in my lanai talking to anybody for 2 weeks, and I'm really happy to be back. So that's what I was doing. I was trying to get a mouse and I wanted to be out in my lanai to talk to you guys. So that's why I am here. And I'm back in my lanai. I'm very happy to be talking to you from out here. So anyway, we're talking about LinkedIn, using LinkedIn strategically to win the gold. So let's see if my mouse is going to actually work. It is, yay. So I know you had someone from LinkedIn here before, but I just wanted to talk to you about what I know about LinkedIn. I know that they have 830 million members since 2003. That's a lot of people. So the point of that is everybody's on LinkedIn. And I have a client that if a candidate is not on LinkedIn, they don't want to talk to that client, that candidate, because they feel that everybody should be on LinkedIn. I don't know about that. That's kind of weird, but it's actually true. I learned that 6 new people join LinkedIn every day. I know that 1 million recruiters are using LinkedIn. That's definitely true, and it's probably more. And 6 people get hired on LinkedIn every minute. That's a lot, but it's probably true. And then 87% of the recruiters surveyed say they use LinkedIn to recruit. I saw that statistic. I believe it's more than that. I don't think they got to everybody. I think it's more like 95%, honestly. And the interesting thing is their motto is relationships matter up here. And that's definitely true. They believe that if you have a good relationship with somebody, that's going to help you get a job. And we'll talk about that in a minute or two. And the best thing about LinkedIn is that it's free. Now you can pay for it. There are 2 things that recruiters pay for. There's one that's called Recruiter Lite, and that's what I use. It costs me about $79 to $100 a month. I have 2 recruiters working for me. I pay for them too. But there's also something called LinkedIn Recruiter that costs about $10,000 a month. So that's for the heavy duty recruiters that have a big agency, or it could be for a corporation like a J&J or Merck or something like that. They probably are paying that LinkedIn Recruiter fee because it's definitely a little bit better, but I can do what I have to do using LinkedIn Recruiter Lite. And I could probably even do what I have to do using the free version, but the paid version has some definite advantages for me. So that's why I pay for it. Okay, so this is what we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about how recruiters find you, how you can find them. We're going to talk about having a current job or not. We're going to talk about what that even means. We're going to talk about searching for hiring managers, and we're going to talk about endorsements and recommendations. And we'll also talk about upgrading your visibility a little bit. We might talk about paying for LinkedIn if we have time later, settings and privacy. I'm not sure we're going to talk about that. And we are going to talk about the LinkedIn job search tools a little. Okay, so first we're talking about how recruiters find you. So this is literally what I do. I just want you to understand what I literally do every day of my life. So this is the search screen that I'll show you. And let's say I want to find a clinical research associate. By the way, I do all pharmaceutical recruiting. In case you haven't figured that out, you'll figure that out. So those are my clients. And so I just recently had a client that downsized 41 people. And so I did this presentation for them like 2 weeks ago. So, and they had clinical research associates that were looking for jobs. So that's what this is. That's why I showed them this screen. But let's say I'm looking for a clinical research associate. So I go into the search bar, just like you all have a search bar. I do the same thing. You could do the same thing. You could become a recruiter literally today if you want to. You literally go on the top, you put clinical research associate. And if you notice on the top, it says 140 40,000 plus results. So I wonder, you've only known me for 5 minutes, maybe 3. And I wonder how many of you believe that I want to look through 140,000 candidates. Now, if you think I would, you can raise your hand, but you're wrong. I don't want to look through 140,000 candidates. There's no way I want to do that. It's too many. So the next slide is this. What is the LinkedIn algorithm to help candidates get to the first page of LinkedIn? So when you go into Google and you're searching for a restaurant, let's say, and you put in Italian restaurant in your neighborhood, you probably don't get past the first 2 pages of Google. And you might not even get past the first page of Google. And that's the same thing that's going on in LinkedIn. So with recruiters, when we get 140,000, we're going to narrow that down a little bit. But when we get 140,000 candidates, we look at the first candidates first, right? So your goal has to be to get to the top of the page. And this question, what is the LinkedIn algorithm? Like, people ask me that all the time. What's the algorithm? And I'll tell you that there are 3 people that know the algorithm. It's the person who wrote it. It might be their spouse, and it might be their boss. That's it. And maybe the boss's boss, maybe Bill Gates, like someone like that might know it. That's it. So the person that did the presentation for you, whenever they did it, doesn't know the algorithm. I don't know the algorithm. Nobody knows the algorithm. So what we have to do is we have to kind of figure it out on our own. And so there was a time, maybe about 10 years ago, that I really thought I had it figured out. But what happens is LinkedIn likes to change it. So even if I knew it 10 years ago, it's totally different now. And so I try to figure it out so that I can tell it to you, but I don't know it. He doesn't know it. Nobody knows it. So we have to guess a little bit. So I'm going to tell you some things today that should help you get higher up, but might not get you to the top of the page. Okay. So what did I do? I wanted to narrow it down. I don't want to look at 140,000 resumes. So I narrow it down. So the first thing I put in for this particular search was California. We needed a person in San Francisco. So I put in San Francisco. And I went down from 140,000 candidates to 3,000 candidates. So you now know me for about 7 minutes. Do you think that I want to search 3,000 candidates? Carrie's shaking her head. No, she's right. I still don't, it's still too many, still too many. So what am I going to do? Well, these people were from the oncology space. So I added the word oncology, and now we're down to 901. So this is good. This is so much better than 140,000, but it's still too many. We eventually want to get to about somewhere between 150 and 200 candidates before we start looking at each candidate one by one by one. So I would have to add a few more things in here to narrow this search a little bit. So people always ask me, what should I put in my LinkedIn profile? And the way I like to explain it is you should copy your entire resume and paste it into your LinkedIn profile. The reason is that you work very hard on your resume, and you've got a bunch of great keywords on your resume. And if you copy it into your LinkedIn profile, you'll have all those wonderful words from your resume on your LinkedIn profile. That's it. So anything you have on your resume that you worked hard on, put it on your LinkedIn profile. That's it. That's the best way to get the most information into LinkedIn. It's the easiest way that I can explain. I could tell you to put this and I can tell you to put that, but if you just copy your whole resume and put it in there, that, in my opinion, is the best way to do this. And keywords are key. So the way you figure out your keywords is you consider what jobs you're looking for, and you look in their requirement sections. And that's where the keywords are, because as a recruiter, I look there in order to figure out how to search, right? So that clinical research associate one of the keywords, they wanted oncology people. So oncology is one of the keywords. They might have wanted something else like SOPs. Like any word that's in the requirement section is game. It's something that I could take and put in the search to figure out whether that is a good candidate. So your keywords are going to be key. And one of the things I always teach people is that a keyword one time is not good enough, because if everybody in the world puts in oncology into their profile, then you're not going to get to the top of the search. The way to get to the top of the search is to mention these words multiple times. So here's an example of an administrative assistant who knew the trick to mentioning the words multiple times. So as an administrative assistant, one of the keywords is Excel and the other one is Word. So she mentioned Excel and Word. She found a way to use Excel and Word in every job that she was in. So you can see it. I've underlined Excel and Word multiple times. She did that on purpose. So let's say your keyword is, I'm trying to think of a good keyword for all of you. Is there a good keyword for, no, I don't think so. But you understand this concept, that whatever the keyword is that's good for your students or your clients, you want to repeat it multiple times. And the way you do it is every job that the person used that thing, you find a way to mention it, okay? And then you can also put these words in the top where you have your summary. You can mention, so-and-so, I used Excel and Word to do things. I use Excel and Word to do calendars and pivot tables. And you can also take Excel and Word and put them down in your technical section. So keywords tend to be on the technical side, but they don't have to be technical. So like oncology is a keyword for sure, but it's not in the technology section, but it could be in the summary. So if it's in the summary and you had 3 or 4 jobs in oncology, then you mention oncology 4 times. That's what you want to do. You want to keep mentioning the keywords. All right. So then this is definitely debatable. I'm going to just say, so I'm a recruiter, been a recruiter for 27 years. I'm speaking in opinions, right? There's no actual guaranteed way to get to the top of the search. There's no actual way to write a LinkedIn profile. Like there's no guaranteed way that you should do it. There's many people that speak about this, and everybody has a different opinion. So I'm just telling you, my opinion comes from 26 years or 27 years of doing recruiting, but it's just an opinion. So the about section, a lot of people pay a lot of money to get their about section written. And I just want to tell you that your about section is just a paragraph about you. It doesn't have to be anything special. It just has to be about you, and it should have all your keywords in it as well. So that's what I'm showing you here, is that this is an about section with a ton of keywords in it. So you see the second paragraph there. It says ASCP licensed phlebotomist. It says IATA DOT, GCP, and HSP. These are keywords. That the word oncology is in here, pulmonology, infectious disease. These are all great keywords, and they're in the about section. So if you just write a paragraph about yourself, or have your folks write a paragraph about themselves and put the keywords in the about section, that's the about section. The thing is that so when you get onto someone's LinkedIn profile, the first 4 lines of the about section are the ones that people see. So if you want to, you can put the most keywords in the top, in the first 4 lines of the about section. And that might be a good strategy. But paying somebody to write your about section, I'm not sure if that's the right strategy, unless you really have no idea how to write a paragraph about yourself. Then I do recommend that you put your email address or phone number or both in your about section, because if a recruiter really likes your profile, they're going to go digging like crazy to find your contact information, because all they want to do is call you. Like back in the day, we used to get resumes by fax and by mail, and the phone number was right there. So if we wanted to call you, we just called you. Now on LinkedIn, we find you. We don't even know if you're looking for a job. We're so excited. We can't wait to call you, but we can't find your phone number. It's because it's not there. So you should add your phone number into your About section, or add your email address into your About section, or both, or one of those. Let's talk about email. If you put your email address in your About section, you will get spam. Therefore, I would create a special email address for your job search, like Abby's job search at yahoo.com. If your name's not Abby, you should pick another one. So your email address, definitely easy. Get it, any email address. Phone number, you can go to Google Voice and get a free phone number and forward it to your phone. And then when you're done with your job search, cancel it. Then you don't have to get spam on your phone. If you're interested in a remote job, or if you only want a remote job, this would be a good place to put that. You can put that into your About section as well. All right. So that's a lot about the About section. Is there any question? Did anybody have any questions thus far? Carrie, do you see anything in there?
No, nothing yet. You're good.
All right, we're good. Okay. Trying to think if there's anything else I wanted to say about this, but I don't think so. Okay. All right, so this is the controversial thing. I don't know if the person from LinkedIn talked about this. Actually, I'm going to ask you, did the person from LinkedIn talk about the current job concept, Carrie?
About the what concept, Abby? The current job concept?
Current job. Yeah, yeah, current job.
I don't remember Omar speaking about that at all. No, he did not.
Yeah, I would have expected him not to talk about it, because it's a little controversial, and I can't imagine someone from LinkedIn telling you to do this. Just doesn't sound right. So I'm going to tell you to probably do this. This is what I think you should do. So one of the things when you look at this algorithm, when you're trying to figure out the algorithm, is you can figure out, you will discover, if you're trying to figure it out, that people that have a current job, in quotes, end up higher up in the search. Okay, that I'm pretty sure that happens. That used to happen 10 years ago. I'm pretty sure that's still happening. So if that's right, you want to have a current job. If you are unemployed, you can't have a current job, or can you? So I'm going to show you John Wheatley. So John Wheatley, you will see on the top in his headline, it says software test engineer, software automation engineer, software QA engineer. Those are 3 different jobs. He does not have a current job presently. He is unemployed right now. So he put this up here, software test, these 3 titles in his headline, okay? And that is on purpose. And the name of his company is Seeking Next Success at Your Company. You'll see it on the right. And he has a phone number in there, a 585 number. That is his way of setting himself up with a current job. Okay. Also, I want to show you that he put up this very nice picture. I'm not sure what that picture is of, because he does software, but it's his brand. So he put a picture up of himself, and then he put a picture up of this thing that I'm not sure what it is. So there's that. This headline here is definitely part of the algorithm, okay? So you definitely want that headline to have the name or names of the jobs that you are interested in. So just to explain this, if you are a purchasing agent, you are also a buyer, and you are also a sourcing specialist, probably. They're all the same thing, just called different things. So if you call yourself a purchasing agent, the people searching for buyers are not going to find you. LinkedIn is not smart enough to tell you that these are the same thing. That's why this is a really good approach. It's a great strategy. And let me show you another one like this. This one was great, very creative. So this is somebody who senior manager or production manager or manufacturing manager. Those were his titles. And the name of his company is You Found Me. Okay. And then he managed to get his phone numbers in here as well and an email address. And he wrote his job description is, I'm currently senior team employment manager for my employment campaign. My background, experience, and long list of skills are only the beginning of what I have to offer your company. Many of the skills I have acquired are transferable to any industry. And then he listed all of his skills. This is not a job description. This is his own present. It's like his resume, basically. It's his advertising for himself. Okay. So how do you create this current job? In LinkedIn, it's not called a job, it's called an experience. So what you do is you add a new experience. And then the new experience, you separate the jobs that you want, the titles that you want people to find you for with these bars. And the bars are on your computer on the right side. So administrative assistant, executive assistant, office manager, receptionist. This person was happy with any of those. If any recruiter would call her for any of those, this person is happy. And the name of her company is Searching for a New Job. And the location is where she wants to work. That's it.
I'm learning how you set up your profile on LinkedIn for recruiters to find you.
So, Sandy, are you asking me a question?
That's okay.
Somebody might be asking me a question. I'm
I
not sure I
think
can
Sandy
hear.
just mistakenly was unmuted. She's good now.
Oh, okay, okay.
Abby,
Cool.
are you able to show us the previous slide just really quickly?
Sure, of course.
Thank you.
This one?
Yes, thank you.
You're welcome. Is it okay if I go forward?
Yes, thank you so much.
You're welcome so much. If anybody has a question, just jump on in. All right. So now we'll talk about additional things that you can put on your profile that might cause recruiters to find you. So for one, this is not really going to help recruiters find you, but once they find you, it might make them more interested in you. You can create a video about yourself. You can do a 60-second elevator speech. And if you see this, it says 17,000 views. Now this was on YouTube. So, but you can take this thing on YouTube and paste it into your LinkedIn profile. And then we have Bob Kirby, who did the top 10 reasons to hire Bob Kirby. This was on LinkedIn. So he put it on YouTube first, and then he put it into LinkedIn, and he actually got a job from this. And then we have this person. This is Lewis Howes, and he got somebody to do a testimonial of him, and he put that testimonial onto LinkedIn. So you can do these things. That people are not doing these things. So anything you can do that is not what everybody else is doing is exactly what you want to be doing. So people will call me up and say, should I do this thing? And I say, is everybody else doing it? And they say no. And I say, yes, do it. Like, for example, call the hiring manager. Nobody's doing that. Nobody's doing that. Do it. Okay. Let's talk about skills, endorsements, and recommendations. So, skills. When I signed up for LinkedIn, I was given skills. So what LinkedIn did is it extracted skills from my resume and put skills up there for me. I never put skills there. Okay, but I have like 20 or something like that. How easy it is. So what happens is people come to your profile, they see your skills, and they just click a button and they endorse you. So recruiters don't necessarily find that to be so valuable if you're endorsed, because they know how easy it is to endorse somebody. So great example of that is one of the skills on my LinkedIn is onboarding. And it was on my resume, somewhere on my resume. And I've only done onboarding on one day that I can remember because someone was out from human resources. But I have 100 endorsements of onboarding. So this is why I don't take those seriously at all, but the skills are part of the algorithm. So if you just get your keywords into your skills, essentially is what you want to do, but not because people are going to endorse it, because it's part of the algorithm. There are recommendations on LinkedIn as well, and those are taken very seriously. If I see a recommendation, I definitely read it. The recommendations can also have the person's keywords in them. So if oncology is something that's important, they should have the word oncology in the recommendation, and the person can ask them to put it in there. So when the person sends the recommendation, they could ask if they could just throw in the word oncology somewhere in there. Or they could write the recommendation for the person, which sometimes probably happens. But recommendations are definitely taken seriously. That's what I can tell you. Okay. Let me just see if I got everything. Yeah. Okay. All right. So then adding a profile section. So there are some things on LinkedIn that you can add to your profile besides those videos. And I just didn't tell you where they were. It's right here where the yellow arrow is. It says add profile section. So if you click add profile section, there are a bunch of things you can add. You can add your education. You have to have your education on your profile because that's on your resume, right? You can add positions, meaning adding jobs. You can add skills. We just talked about all that. But there are other things. You can add licenses and certifications, which will be searchable on LinkedIn, which is great. If I'm looking for someone with a certain license, I'll be able to find you faster if you have it there. You can add courses. You can add volunteer experience. You can add publications, patents, projects. A lot you can add. So I would just recommend to the person to click that button, add to profile, and you'll see the choices there. Okay, the other thing is you definitely want to edit your public URL. Your URL is when you put on your, so if you look at your resume, if you have a resume, you have your URL, and a lot of people have something like linkedin.com/in/Steve 232792J. That's because LinkedIn gave you that when you signed up. So I still see people doing that on their resume, and it just looks silly. So all you have to do is you have to click on this button, edit public profile and URL. It's very easy. It's on the top right-hand corner. And then you personalize it. It just asks you, what do you want your URL to be? Now, if your name is Steve Schmidt, you're not going to get it because there's a lot of Steve Schmidts. But if your name is Abby Kohut, there's only one other of you, and you get it. Okay? So your URL must contain 3 to 100 letters or numbers. So you do that, and then you can put it on your email. Every time you send an email to somebody, you can put your LinkedIn URL. And mine is just linkedin.com/in/Abby Kohut. Simple. And it looks pretty. Okay. We're up to searching for hiring managers. Unless anybody has any questions about how we find you. Does anybody have any questions? Yeah.
Abby, somebody just asked, how do you do that again? Can you show how to make a personalized URL?
Sure. Okay, so what you're going to do, this is the top right-hand corner. You're on your profile. It says edit public profile and URL. You click that button, and then it will give you this picture, edit your custom URL. It's very easy. And then you just put your name, whatever your name is, like Greg Friedman. Now, Greg Friedman is not going to get it because there's too many Greg Friedmans. So it would have to be Greg Friedman CPA, or Greg Friedman Careers, or Greg Friedman California. That's what Greg would have to. Do you have one of these, Greg?
I do actually, yes.
Do you know what it is?
I think it's Iron Man, like Scrappy is a nickname, and like I do triathlons. So yeah, I kind of personalize.
Okay.
It's not professional, but it's personalized for me.
Okay. So that's Greg. So, but he can't get Greg Friedman because there's too many Greg Friedmans. But hopefully, whoever you are, you can get your name or add some things to it. Okay. Anybody have any other questions about me finding you? Okay, we have a raised hand from Eden. Let's see if I can.
Good
Eden, you can
morning.
just,
Hi.
yeah,
Hi,
just tell
Abby.
us.
This is
Try
Eden.
just.
Hi,
Oh,
Moreno
Eden.
Valley College. Hope you guys
Hi.
are all doing well. I just had a question. It's not about the URL, but I was just curious. Would you recommend, if we're guiding those that have, a multitude of skills and how multiple are having two industries, two different jobs, would you recommend them have two separate LinkedIn accounts, or attempt to just highlight what it is that they're doing? Like, I have someone who has a day job but
Yeah.
also has a side business. So just wanted to kind of get your input and your thoughts as far as if they should just have two completely different LinkedIn accounts. What are your thoughts on that?
You can. It just would depend on who and what, and depend on a lot of things. But the problem with having two is then you have to get everybody to connect with you twice. You have to have two email addresses, and that's the only problem with it. And then if somebody finds both profiles, they might be confused. It's probably better to have one profile and put both things on it, but it's also better if you're looking for a job to not talk about your business. It's probably better to not talk about your business. That's unless it's what you're doing in between looking for a job. It depends on the person. Unfortunately, I don't have the right answer unless I'm talking about a specific person. You know what I mean?
Right. No, I understand. Thank you.
You're absolutely welcome. Anybody else have one? All right, we'll keep going. Searching for hiring managers. So the first question is, why would you want to search for hiring managers? The answer is because if you just apply on Indeed or wherever, you're just in a big black hole, and you stay there unless you have the exact right keywords that are in a recruiter's brain. And the chances of that happening are slim to none. So most people don't get a job just from an ad. They get a job from an ad and then pushing their way into a company. So in order to push your way into a company, you have to find a hiring manager. So this is how you do it. Oh, before I talk about this, so double quotes are your best friend and my best friend. So let me just talk about that. Back at the beginning, when I had 140,000 results on this screen, this was the first screen we talked about, clinical research associate, I put quotes around that. And that's the way that recruiters do this if they know what they're doing. Putting quotes around something keeps the words together in that particular order. So if I'm searching for clinical research associate with quotes around it, I'm not going to get people just in clinical, just in research, or just associates. So they're my best friend. Those quotes are my best friend, and they're also going to be your best friend as well. So what I did here is I searched for, I want to find a company, like let's say I applied for Jazz Pharmaceuticals. I applied for the job on Indeed. I'm so excited. And now I want to find the hiring manager. So first thing I did is I found Jazz Pharmaceuticals on LinkedIn. This is their page. And then I know that I can't point, but there's 3,665 employees that work there. Okay. So now I click on Jazz and I clicked on the 3,065 employees and I put in clinical operations because I want to find the hiring manager for clinical operations. That's what I want. So I put in clinical operations, but I put it in quotes. And that's going to narrow down the search. So I'm not going to be looking one by one, 3,065 employees. Same way I don't want to do it. You don't want to do it either. So we put the quotes around it. And then what happens then is we find just clinical operations people at Jazz. And then see, I found Charlene Stout at Jazz, and look at her title. It's Executive Director and Head of Clinical Operations at Jazz. right? So I could just hit connect, right? I could do that. And then I could say, hi, Charlene, I'm a really great clinical research associate. I love your company. I really want to do this job, blah, blah, blah. But is Charlene going to connect with me? Probably not, because she doesn't know me from Adam. So therefore, what I want to do is I want to click, see with Charlene Stout, it says 8 shared connections. I don't know if you can see that, but I hope you can see that on the bottom, 8 shared connections. Those are the people that are going to help us get to Charlene. So I click on Charlene's name without hitting connect. And I find these 4 people. There were 8, but these are 4. These are my first connections. And I look down the list and I see, who do I know the best? And I know Deva down at the bottom. And the reason I know her is because I hired her. So obviously she's going to like me and she's going to help me get my job as a clinical research associate. So I'm going to ask Deva to introduce me to Charlene. So I apply for the ad on Indeed, and then I look for the hiring manager, and then I figure out if I know the hiring manager through somebody, and then I ask the somebody to introduce me to the hiring manager. That's how people are getting jobs these days. Okay, so does anybody have a question before we move on? All right.
Not a question, Abby, but I did want to add one other thing that I find useful there is the group. So if, for example, you're not connected to someone, looking to see what groups they're in and see if it's an open group that relates to what you do, when you join that, now you can connect to anyone in those groups. So
I'm not sure how the groups are working. That's what it was, but I have a LinkedIn guru that thinks he knows the algorithm. He does a lot of presentations on LinkedIn. He's got like a direct connect to LinkedIn. He knows the algorithm more than I know it by 10 times. And he said that the groups are not operating the way that you just said anymore.
oh,
So
okay,
if they
good to know.
are, yes, if they are, please tell me. But he said they're not, but they used to be. That's exactly what I used to think. And I asked him this 3 weeks ago. And I said, if I join a group, can I connect to anybody in the group? And he said, no, it's not like that anymore. So let me know if it is, because then he would be wrong and then I can tell him and then I could be the LinkedIn guru instead.
I'll take a peek. Thank you, Abby. I had not
Definitely.
looked at that for a minute.
Definitely. Yeah, no, I used to think that it used to be that way, but he said it's done, 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 done. Okay, so I wanted to tell you all, people always ask me how many connections do I need to have? I would say you should try to get people to have a minimum of 200 connections. If they have 200, try to get them to get to 300. If they have 300, try to get them to 500. The more connections you have, the better, because then more recruiters can actually see you. If you only have 10 connections, then your recruiter's like 6th or 7th connection, and they won't see you when they're looking for you. Okay, and definitely customize your connection request. When you ask somebody to connect to you, say how you met them and why you want to connect to them. Some of us are running out of connections, literally, and therefore we can't connect to everybody. So we only accept people that write us a nice little note. Also, recruiters will always connect to you, always. And if a recruiter asks to connect to you and that person lives in the United States, I would always connect to a recruiter. You never know what job they have or what job they might have in the future. Okay, finding search firms. This might be a good thing too for you guys. So so again, these quotes are still our BFFs because we're going to use them when we're searching for search firms. So a search firm is an external recruiter that is looking for people that you want to place. So let's say you want to find a recruiter that places people in clinical. So I tried this, I did clinical recruiter, but notice the quotes, clinical recruiter. If you don't put the quotes, you'll get people that are recruiters and people that are in clinical. Okay, so clinical recruiter quotes. And then you see the first 3 are clinical recruiters, and I have way more than that came up. So that was a good search. Then I also did clinical recruiter and then I put hiring next to it, and clinical recruiter in quotes, and then hiring is not in quotes. So I don't need hiring to be part of that string. And then look, the first one is Carrie Pasternak, and it says hiring top talent at Octave. And then Lori Green, the third one, clinical recruiting professional, now hiring. So that's a good little strategy. And then I also did clinical recruiter openings. And this was pretty cool. So Cassie Cunningham is a clinical recruiter, and I looked at her about section, and it has her email address in it. That's pretty cool. She's telling us all the jobs she has open and saying, just email me your resume. Okay. All right. And then I also did clinical headhunter. That didn't work at all. But clinical space headhunter did work. And that gave me 59,000 results. Way too many. So you have to narrow it down, but you get the idea. So these are ways to search for the type of recruiter that you want to find for your folks. Okay. Then I just wanted to mention a little plug for my website. So I have a website, and it's called staffingsymphony.com. And on that website, we have about 2,500 jobs all across the country, all levels, all industries. And what I would recommend to anybody that you know is that they sign up on the site. They should put their resume on the site. They should set up alerts on the site so that when new jobs come in, they hear about them. We get probably about 10 to 20 new jobs every day. These are all headhunters. And these are not necessarily posted on all the jobs on the boards. So they're not posted on LinkedIn. They're not posted on Indeed. They're not posted on Monster. They're just there on our board. So we have about 1,000 headhunters that are part of this. So this is why I would say you definitely want to have your folks on there, staffingsymphony.com. All right. Job search
Abby,
tools.
we're down to the last
Yeah.
12 minutes here. So
Yeah. All right. I'm just gonna just do it quick. I will speed talk because I think these are important. Okay. But thank you for telling me that. So job search tools on LinkedIn, there's a box, and there's a suitcase on the top. It's called jobs. And if you click that, you can get yourself set up on the jobs part of LinkedIn, and you'll see things like jobs where you're a top applicant, jobs that are recommended for you, and just a whole lot of opportunities. So just check that little suitcase. You can also pay for the LinkedIn premium job search. Yeah, you can pay for the LinkedIn premium job search package. That's the word. You can pay for that, and that costs, I think, $39 a month, and you can get 1 month free. It's definitely worth trying out. That's what I would tell any job seeker, because you get a lot of opportunity, a lot of data that really can help you with your job search. There's also this thing called the Open to Work badge, very controversial. People say you shouldn't have it because it says that you're desperate. I think you should absolutely have it because as a recruiter, I want to see that you're available. It's wonderful if I find a person who's open to work. It's so good. I love it. It's controversial. Other people think it makes you look desperate. You have to decide what's right for you. But that's in the jobs section with the suitcase. Another thing you can do is you can update your network on the homepage, and you can put up a post. So I had somebody write this, and I got it, like they put it in their network and I got it. It says, stop fearing what could go wrong and start welcoming what could go right. Oh my God, that is so perfect for me right now. So perfect for me. I should have that pasted on every wall in my house. So perfect. But like things like that will come through my network, and it's just really nice when people do that. You can write articles, same thing on your homepage. Oh, we're done. Yay. Okay, so now Who's got questions?
Feel
Yeah,
free to
I had
unmute
one
yourself.
question. Oh, sorry, go ahead, Greg.
Oh, no, I was just telling people, feel free to unmute themselves and ask away. We got her for about 9 more minutes.
9 minutes.
I had one question. I put it in the chat. In trying to find recruiters, you know, when we're looking for hiring managers, which is ideally who we want to get to, and if you can't get to the hiring manager, if I want to try to find a recruiter, does that work or not? I've never done it, but I've gone in looking for recruiters in LinkedIn with that job title.
You can try it. The thing about these people are called headhunters. If you're talking about external recruiters, so there's two kinds of recruiters. There's internal recruiters, which is what I do, and we work for a company, right? So like I might be working for Pfizer or J&J. I haven't. I'm not working for them. They're too big, but I could work for them, right? That's an internal recruiter. But then there's external recruiters, and those are called headhunters. And the headhunters, they headhunt, which means they're trying to find you. So they really don't want you to find them. However, if you're looking for a job, why not? You could definitely spend some time on LinkedIn, try to find them. You might get lucky. The thing about headhunters is they have a certain type of job that they work on, and they might not want to talk to you unless you fit exactly that mold. They're harder to find than they appear, but they'll find you on LinkedIn. If you have the right profile and they're looking for what you do, they will find you.
Thank you.
Sure. And as far as trying to find internal recruiters, Carrie, the problem with that is, I mean, that's not a terrible problem. Some recruiters don't want you to bother them. It's better to bother the hiring manager than to bother the recruiter, in my opinion. Find the hiring manager and let the hiring manager, so in my job, I get hiring managers coming to me telling me that so-and-so referred them all day long. That's a good thing. But they came through the hiring manager, not through me. Nobody calls me. Yeah.
All right, thank you. And I did want to update you. I did double check on the group member connection aspect. I did put it in chat that you can still, but it may be that the admins of each group are now able to either turn that on or turn that off. But I went to about half a dozen sites or half a dozen groups I'm in. And each one of them, if I selected show all members, once I went into the group, there was a button next to every single person's name that said message, which allowed me to message them directly.
Okay, good.
So not connect, but it's messaging and saying, hey, I'd love to.
You can message them.
Yeah, I'd love to connect with you outside of this.
Yeah, which is good because you don't have to use, an email when you message those people?
No, you do not.
Okay, well, that's good. So I'll tell Ken that. So now you become the LinkedIn guru.
Do we have other questions for Abby? I want to say thank you, Abby. This was great. I learned a bunch of new things today. I'm looking forward to going over the recording. Can you send me would you share your PowerPoint with us?
Yeah, sure.
Awesome. I appreciate that. Someone said, how much time should we devote to job hunting?
It's a full-time job. However, I would make sure that you spend time with your family and make sure you spend time with yourself. So it's a full-time, so it's a 9 to 5 job, but make sure you're not working on it 9 to 9. That's what I mean. But it's a full-time job in this job market, especially. So there's a lot of competition out there. A lot of people applying for the same jobs. A lot of people getting multiple job offers. That's the other thing that's happening. And also, do not believe that the holidays are dead. So there are going to be plenty of jobs coming up because people have new budgets in January. And if they realize that, they're going to post their jobs now. People forget. They think, oh, I'm just going to go buy Christmas presents and I'm not going to search until January. But so the job market is kind of slower because all those people are out of it. So you should definitely be in it this time of year.
Great advice. If you loved hearing Abby today and you want to hear more presenters like her, join us in Palm Springs, March 1st through 3rd at the state conference. Go to calplacement.org. If you are an expert in a field like Abby or Carrie is, and you want to present at the state conference, where you go to our homepage, scroll down just a little bit, says sign up here. That's the call for proposals. We'd love it. Abby, someone's asking, what is your email? Or should they just connect with you through LinkedIn?
Oh, yeah, that's probably better.
Okay. So
Yeah.
search for Abby. Search for Abby on LinkedIn, connect, build out your network.
Yeah, there's
Help
only
you be
one,
found by
one
recruiters.
or two of Abby Kohuts out there, and I'm the one with the red hair.
Awesome. Abby, thank you so much for taking the time to speak to us today. We really
You're welcome.
appreciate it.
My pleasure. I hope you all have a good day.
Join us all next month. We'll send you out something we're going to talk about. Our own Rosalinda Rivas, who's a great presenter, is going to talk about internships because it's National Internship Month week coming up next month. So that's our topic for next month.
Hi, my name is Luis Sobrevilla, and I work with the Merced County Office of Education, and I'm a proud member of California Placement Association.
Hi, my name is Greg Friedman. I work with Merced County Office of Education. I'm a proud member of the CPA Northern Region.
Hi, my name is Denise Crawford, and I work at Bakersfield College, and I'm a proud member of the California Placement Association Central Region.
Hi, I'm Rosalinda Rivas, and I'm a proud member of the California Placement Association.